Secretary, Russia has launched its most massive attacks in the last 3 days, and you of course saw your counterpart today. Are you willing now to put stronger sanctions on Russia?
Well, the president has said that that's an option that's available to him, both under existing authorities, but primarily if the Senate and the House can pass legislation that gives them the opportunity to do that. So we've been engaging with Congress on what that bill would look like. Obviously, the president needs flexibility on how those sanctions would be applied and when, because it gives them, maximum leverage in any conversation and negotiation. So he has talked about that as being a real option. And now, obviously, we've been engaging with the Senate in particular over the last week on what that bill will look like. And the leaders of both chambers have said that they're prepared to begin to move forward on that. We've expressed this to the Russians weeks ago. We told them that at the moment would come where something like this could happen. And we'll continue to express it because that's the reality.
But has the moment come or not yet?
Well, again, that's the president's decision to make. He's frustrated by the fact that more progress has not been made.
Mr. Secretary, there were reports earlier this week that you and the president were unaware that the Pentagon had made a decision to at least temporarily halt the arms shipments to Ukraine. What's your take on that decision by the Pentagon, and what is your general take?
Well, I think that that decision unfortunately was mischaracterized. It was a pause pending review on a handful of specific type munitions. That, frankly, is something that is logical that you would do, especially after an extended engagement that we saw both in defense of Israel and in defense of our own bases. And so it was a very limited review of certain types of munitions to ensure that we had sufficient stockpiles. And it's typical when you do these reviews that there's a short-term pause, because if, in fact, the review comes back that you have a shortage, you can't pull it back once it's been sent. But generally speaking, aid to Ukraine continues along the schedule that Congress appropriated.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio delivered a pointed warning to Moscow, emphasizing that time is short for Russia to prove it's serious about peace in Ukraine. Speaking after meetings with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov at the ASEAN Forum in Malaysia, Rubio mirrored President Trump's growing frustration, saying the U.S. will soon assess Russia's true intentions based on actions, not words. He criticized continued Russian aggression, highlighting a staggering 100,000 Russian military deaths in 2025, and urged Moscow to provide concrete ceasefire proposals or face intensified sanctions and tariffs on Russian oil. Rubio also outlined a potential new and different diplomatic approach, though he cautioned against endless negotiations, insisting that Washington will not be trapped by protracted talk sessions. Meanwhile, bipartisan support is building in Congress for harsh sanctions, like 500% tariffs on Russian oil imports, pending Trump's endorsement. Rubio's stance reflects a clear pivot. Diplomacy will continue, but time is running out, and failure by Russia to demonstrate sincerity could trigger a decisive U.S. response.